During exit interviews on Wednesday, KD got his LeBron on in taking exception to the Warriors being called a super team. He pointed out how Steph and Clay and Dre, they've outperformed their draft positions. KD said, quote, super team, no, we just work extremely well together. Coach puts us in position to maximize our strengths. Now, Amin, I would say that's called wanting your elaborate championship cake and eating it too. I don't know if you saw the cake that was baked for the Warriors championship, but where is KD going with this whole we're not a super team thing? Like, the way I look at it, man, whether you were born on Asgard or you were bitten by a radioactive spider or you were exposed to gamma radiation, however it happens, you're a super team. I don't care where they were drafted. When they added KD, 4 All-NBA players, 4 Hall of Famers, you're a super team. Own it.
Yeah, you put it probably better than anybody could. Like, it doesn't matter how you got here. You're here. A super team is defined as having a collection of superheroes, super players, right? They've got that. So whether it was homegrown or acquired by a free agency, that shouldn't matter. But even more importantly, even if we are to play by his rules, that, oh no, these guys were drafted and, Steph wasn't a top 5 pick and Clay wasn't top 10 and Draymond wasn't even a first round pick. Like, okay, we'll take that. You didn't join them on draft day.
Exactly.
You didn't join them when they were working hard. You joined them after they won 73 wins, a title, and lost in Game 7 of the finals. So even within his warped definition, he still doesn't qualify because he was an MVP and he joined this team. But ultimately, Michael, comes down to one thing. There's nothing wrong with being a super team.
Thank you.
That's not a derogatory statement.
Why
the Avengers
think
are not a group of bad guys.
Why do they think it carries a negative connotation? Because whether Draymond called or texted, whatever he did from the parking lot after Game 7, the point was to form a super team. They called him up after winning 73 games and going to Game 7 and said, hey, man, let's run this league for years to come. Speaking of which, Amin, I was reading where you had the Warriors going to the finals 4 times and winning 3 in the next 5 years. Give the rest of the Western Conference some hope, please, some semblance of hope.
Honestly, I was being conservative, Mike. That's the truth. I mean, it's kind of like on July 4th, 2016, I said, well, the Warriors just won the championship. And everyone's like, well, let's see how it goes. I get it. Someone could twist an ankle. I get it. Someone could get sick. I get it. The pilot could get lost on the way to Cleveland, and they have to forfeit a game or 2. But ultimately, if we're talking about probability, we knew probably the Warriors are going to win, other than some people in Cleveland who deluded themselves into thinking they had a chance. So, sure, everyone's got a chance in the Western Conference. Maybe the Spurs can get Chris Paul, and maybe they can be something greater. Maybe Jerry West coming to the Clippers can help move that team past the hump. There are teams with talent. It's not to say there aren't talented teams. But again, today, June 15th or June 6th, whatever day it is today, you're asking me to bet who's going to win. I'm betting on the Warriors and knowing that they're going to keep at least those 4 players together, if not more of those role players that are around them. I got to give them the benefit of the doubt for the next, basically over the next 5 years.
And the scary thing is,
successful.
They think they can continue to get better in terms of chemistry and just knowing one another and, like you said, keeping the core together. And that's what KD is really talking about, that even though they have this collection of talent, it's not given to them. It's easier, obviously, with all that talent around you, but they still had to work, sacrifice, set aside their egos, learn one another's idiosyncrasies. So you mentioned Jerry West, though. The Warriors, they did suffer something of a loss, however, as the logo leaves his advisory role with the Warriors and heads back to Los Angeles, only not to advise the Lakers, but rather Steve Ballmer, Doc Rivers, and Lawrence Frank with the Clippers. Said the 79-year-old West, quote, every person is different in terms of their lives and how people age. I don't feel old. I feel really competitive. Sometimes you need to be challenged. I've kind of been defiant my whole life, the way I was raised. And I think this is like the defiant streak in me. I don't know, end quote. How big of a deal is this for the Clippers adding Jerry West to me? Because, look, 2-time Executive of the Year, built championship teams with the Lakers, obviously helped the Warriors get to where they are and had to stop in Memphis, but he's not suiting up. The way I see it, if Jerry West coming in makes, say, a Chris Paul or Blake Griffin reconsider whether or not to stay, that suggests that they had questions about the competency of the existing management staff.
I wouldn't blame them if they did. Look, Doc Rivers is a great coach, but as a president of basketball operations, he hasn't done a great job of stewarding this ship, right? If you look at all the players that the Clippers have drafted, either first or second round, how many of them played in an NBA game? How many of them played meaningful minutes in an NBA game? Almost none of them, right? And so what you're talking about here is you're talking about an organization that lacks a man with vision at the top. vision not only to draft players or see players for what they could be, not what they are, not what they were yesterday, which the Clippers seem to be really good at, getting brand names from yesteryear. They're not good at predicting or getting guys that could be good for us in the future. And so we talked a lot about this on the jump. I was there with Tracy McGrady and Byron Scott, and I said, if you want proof of what kind of visionary Jerry West is, look at the man to my side here. Because they traded Norm Nixon, who was an all-star, who they won a championship with in LA. It would have been easy, or two, excuse me. It would have been easy for Jerry West to say, hey, why, if it ain't broke, don't break it. We're just going to keep winning with our all-stars. He traded an all-star for a guy coming out of Arizona State, yes, a top 5 pick, but unproven. And what happened? 3 more titles later, that's what you get. Well, and that's what you need with the Clippers.
And look, don't get me wrong, this is a great get for the Clippers. You got Jerry West not with the Lakers as you negotiating. They just approved today to negotiate an exclusive deal with the city council to build a stadium near the Chargers and Rams football facility in LA. So big day for the Clippers. I'm just saying, I don't know that market and money is going to be the deciding factor for Chris Paul as opposed to another strong voice in the front office. After 12 years of not getting past the second round, he's looking for immediate returns, not necessarily long-term vision.